Ladies and gentlemen, now in today's video, we're going to be breaking down everything that you need to know to have a bit of a better time fighting the final Apocalypse boss this month. Now, I would say in comparison to other bosses, he may be a little bit jarring at first and a bit tricky because he's a very menacing character, and the special attacks as well are very, very excessive and do seem very scary. However, once you get used to this fight and you kind of understand what's going on with Apocalypse and what you want to be doing, he's actually really straightforward. And if you have a Ghost, she's just a complete cheat code for this fight this month as well. Like, honestly, man, she's so stupid with the 200% Fury node. So yeah, Ghost is just a very, very easy win if you do have access to her. However, if you don't, we're going to be going over some alternative options and talking about what makes a character a really good counter to Apocalypse. Now, when it comes to characters that work really well for this fight, ideally you want a high damage output character that doesn't rely on bleed or incinerate, but also has relatively decent block proficiency, unless you feel very confident evading the special attacks, which are really, really tricky to get down. So yeah, that's like the two criteria. High damage, doesn't rely on bleed or incinerate, because if either of these effects are applied to Apocalypse, he gains full immunity to them for the rest of the quest. So you only get like, 8 seconds worth of damage over time value, and then yeah, those options are completely snuffed out. I think if you use Human Torch and uses pre-fight though, you can get around this incinerate immunity because it's Nova Flame. It's like its own debuff there. But again, there are a lot of different options that can work. Just like any high damage output character, good block proficiency that does not rely on bleed or incinerate. So pretty straightforward character wise. Now, one thing to keep in mind as well is his persistent charges. So he's going to have a minimum 3 at the start of every single fight. However, if you're playing Cavalier difficulty, instantly goes to 4, but if you lose one fight on Uncollected, I believe it goes up to 4 as well. So basically, when he's got 3 of these persistent charges, he becomes stun immune while striking, which means that you cannot parry him, and this is really, really nasty with his 4 combo as well, because at 4, if he strikes into the opponent's block with a light attack, he's going to stun you for 0.8 seconds, and this allows him then to just combo you into oblivion. So yeah, basically you don't want to block on this fight unless you've got a character like Mordo, for example, that can like evade out of the stun, or else you're just going to get clapped really, really hard. And that's a mistake a lot of players are making at the moment, is they are seeing that you know, he can't be parried stunned, so they're holding block to try and bait out like a full combo or a heavy attack, and then they're just getting stunned and like wombo comboed. So yeah, it's a really, really deadly combo. So really the way to get your in is using Ghost, or you need to intercept. However, intercepting this guy is actually much easier than most opponents. He plays very aggressively, at least in my experience on the Cavalier difficulty. So yeah, it's pretty easy to backdraft him for the most part, and once you kind of get into the rhythm of the fight, he becomes quite straightforward to take down. But again, he's still a bit of a pain when it comes to the special attack block damage. So let's jump into a few different fights and have a look at a couple of different takedowns. Now, first up, we got Hulkbuster, and in all honesty, man, I think Hulkbuster is genuinely one of the best options for taking down Apocalypse if you don't have access to Ghost. Again, because of Ghost like phasing, she's just like the best option, because then you don't need to worry about like intercepting or the stun immunity, because you can just like always punish on the phasing, which is really, really nice. However, Hulkbuster, again, very fun option once you get into this fight and you get the special 2 going. I made a little bit of a mistake there, and I accidentally pressed the special 1 toward the start of the fight, but you can stun off special attacks on champions. Again, he's only stun immune while he's striking into you, so yeah, this only really affects the parry mastery, so you know, just something to keep in mind and consider there. But the goal with Hulkbuster is we want to throw that special 2 into his block while he's in the corner and just get some massive, massive damage. So we get a nice little backdraft intercept there, gonna try and be a little bit more aggressive. However, he's being really, really aggressive as well, so we go for the block, another combo, hoping that he's gonna hold block after this, so he does. So we just take the opportunity here to throw in the combo and then go straight into his special 2. There's a little bit too much distance there, so I didn't feel comfortable going for the heavy attack spam, because most likely I would have left myself like a little bit too open and got clapped there. there. So yeah, this is the problem that I had at the start. But again, this is not really like looking too great for Hulkbuster now, but you want to see as soon as I start getting those combos off, man, Apocalypse starts dropping like a madman. So here the regeneration from Hulkbuster kicks in, and we are really just trying to intercept, kind of find those opportunities to attack into Apocalypse there, while also making sure that we don't hold down block. And also baiting out and blocking the special one, it's just really easy to like fully block the special one and not worry about evading and then just punish after. But here we get a special 2 into block right in the corner, man. So this allows us, especially with the Fury buff active now, to get some crazy damage on Apocalypse. Really good opener there. So yeah, we're making a solid comeback, but Apocalypse does have some really tricky specials, so I'm just kind of playing it safe and like fully blocking them. So we block the full 3 hits here. Again, once you get used to it, you can like fully evade it if you're super good, or look to partially evade like the last 2 hits of it as well. So we just like fully block this one again. I wanted to be like a little bit more back there because he does have like a few melee hits before he fires that off. So I took a bit too much extra block damage there, and that probably cost me the entire match. Again, looking back on this one, man, there are so many little mistakes that if rectified would have been so good. But unfortunately, because he was attacking in there, we didn't get the stun on Apocalypse, man. If we did, it would have been game over. But now I'm just desperately trying to look for some sort of in order to finish off this match up. And here I know I can't block this fully, so I go for the evade. I mess up on the last bit and we died at 3%, but this was literally my first try after I did the live stream with Hulkbuster, and we almost got that full Hulkbuster one shot. So yeah, I was a little bit gutted that we failed on that, man, but hopefully that gave you an idea of how the fight kind of fleshes out with a character like Hulkbuster. But yeah, he's really good for Apocalypse. If you don't have access to Ghosts like Hulkbuster, in my opinion, is definitely one of the strongest options out there, just because you've got a lot of damage output. The regeneration is really nice as well, and also the power drain allows you to bait out less special attacks and thus take less block damage as well. So that is a really good time. But here we're just finishing off the job with Starkey Spider-Man. Again, another really good option. However, Apocalypse, the longer the fight goes on with Starkey Spider-Man, every time Starkey evades, he's going to reduce the chance to evade by 10%. So Starkey isn't like the absolute best counter out there, but he can definitely work for taking off a solid chunk. Next up, we got a dual takedown with Havok and also Silver Surfer. So I found these two to be quite good for the fight. Again, any high damage output character that doesn't rely on bleed or incinerate is going to be a really good option for Apocalypse, as long as you're playing the fight semi-correctly. But again, you can be quite lazy. The only skill in this fight really is kind of nailing those backdrafts and maybe occasionally trying to smash an intercept out of the park if you do need a good opener, and that can be a little bit tricky. But I feel like this guy, I don't know, I think it's his size and animations. I just find him like really easy to read personally once you kind of get used to him. But again, one thing to do if you always struggle against like new bosses and crazy animations and you're a bit visually intimidated by new characters and need a bit of time to learn, is do the lower difficulties first, kind of practice on stuff like Heroic and Master before you enter stuff like Cavalier and Uncollected, because it's always better to get used to how new characters move and function and some of their animations in those lower difficulties. Well, like worst case scenario, you just bring in your best 5-star champions and one shot, but you can bring in like 2-star, 3-star champions to really get a good practice run before you go into the Cavalier variant. Here with Havok, he's been working out quite well for the damage. However, I've been taking some unnecessary blocked hits on the special attack. So yeah, make sure you get back a fair distance so he can't melee you at the start, because I think that was one of the big things that caused me just to get nuked down so quickly there with him. But Havok, you know, if you play really well, man, and you got like a 20% booster on, definitely has some easy one-shot potential. But also one thing that I failed to mention is his nodes are actually super simple on Cavalier difficulty. The only thing you really need to worry about or just be aware of is that if you do intercept this guy, you're going to get the Fury buff that Silver Surfer has at the moment, and you get this even on backdrafts, and that gives you 200% more attack. So if you are very close to a special attack, you ideally want to make sure you intercept him or backdraft him and then throw that special attack to get like a massive damage bonus. But yeah, Silver Surfer is definitely a very interesting option for Apocalypse. You can, if you get the heavy charge right, phase certain elements of his special attack as well. So yeah, that kind of works out well. But again, Silver Surfer, high damage output character, he's got some half decent block and doesn't rely on bleed or incinerates for his output. So yeah, he works really well against this massive chunky lad. But here we're blocking like one final special one, and then we go in for a cheeky little combo, then we go for a backdraft intercept, we get the Fury buff, and then we launch our special 3, so we got mega damage on that, and we fly Apocalypse into a star, and that man just completely explodes. So that was a pretty good takedown, man. But yeah, certainly a few options you can use. Now, to round off this video, I just wanted to put in the Warlock clip from the live stream that we did earlier as well. So again, Warlock's got some pretty good damage output. He doesn't rely on bleed or incinerate, so a very, very good option for Apocalypse. But you can see here, we just got him in the corner. We're going for the backdraft intercepts, getting that massive additional fury, and that's giving Warlock some pretty crazy damage. Then we back off, we go for the block, we wait for 3 hits of damage, and then we're good to go in. However, here, I don't think I knew about the timing, but honestly, after you see that 3rd hit of damage on the beam, you are safe to go in and punish Apocalypse after that special one. So here we see the 3rd hit, we go straight in, and then we go for a backdraft intercept, so that allows us to get the massive fury. We fire off the special 2, get some crazy damage off that, just nuke him down there, and then yeah, we wait patiently to bait out another special one. So yeah, it's a pretty easy and straightforward fight once you do get into the rhythm of it, and once you get him in the corner, he's just very easy and very reliable to backdraft for the most part. So it's kind of just getting a handle on the fight initially, and once you're into it, man, it does become pretty straightforward to take down. But again, it's going to take some players some practice if you haven't like fully mastered intercepting, but it's a really, really good month to learn to do it. Again, there's no pressure to complete this quest right now. You've got all of the month to kind of learn and get used to fighting Apocalypse, and yeah, once you get it down, he's pretty fun, he's pretty damn satisfying to take down as well. So I really did enjoy this boss fight. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts on the Apocalypse boss and who you used in the comment section below. But aside from that, thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.